Okay, good evening guys and welcome to the Monday Historical Line Battle. Now unfortunately Chadman cannot be joining me today, he's got other things to do. So let's have a look at the teams. The teams are a little unbalanced at the moment. Russia currently have 10 people more, but they are supposed to be taking musicians and flag bearers to try and balance that out a bit. So in France we have the 6E, the 4PP, the 4E, the Hussars, the 6EYG, and the 6E Cuirassiers. There's quite a few cavalry regiments in there, as well as the 6E Arty, I believe. So let's have a look. So there's the 6EYG going as line infantry. As the guards we have the 4E, always playing the Grenadier Guards there, led by Mac of course, one of Chadman's favourites. And here we have the 4PP, again leading another line infantry regiment. They seem to have a mix of classes in there. Can't see any artillery for their faction, so that could be a downside for them. Not sure if they had some cavalry ride-offs. Yeah, they've got this cavalry riding off into the distance, which I believe will be the 6E Cuirassiers. Now Russia, we've got some line infantry guards here, led by the 3 TES. There's some musicians. The skirmishers are the 4 TES, although this guy seems to be AFK. And the cavalry have gone to dragoons, so they have access to muskets. The 5 TES. It's a theme going on here. Most of the Russians are the DL brigade. The French team has a mixture of the 2E brigade and the LN brigade. So, unlike most line battles, these are a good mixture of brigades, so you should see some good teamwork going on here. So we have the 18 TES marching into battle. Very nicely formed up here. Musician, flag bearer, officer with the customary moustache. It's even going grey to show that he has some experience. So let's see, where are they heading? They're heading onto the left of the battlefield here. Seems most of the Russians are keeping together, which is good. That'll promote some teamwork between them, just through the fact they're together. Now whether they're trying to take this gun battery here and put some operators on it, I'm not sure. It looks like their artillery is mostly staying at the back. Oh, and Bolvak with an excellent cross-map shot there. Let's see who he hit. He managed to get one from each line. That looks like an officer. Yep, that was the skirmisher officer. So that's a loss. Oh, and that's a second officer from the line infantry. So very high profile targets taken out in one go there. Now, where are the French cavalry? I saw them scouting the map edge earlier. I'm wondering if they're sneaking around on the Russian artillery. We'll go find them shortly. For now, we have the French line infantry. Pretty exposed here in the middle of the field, marching around on their own. They do look to be retreating. They've noticed the superior numbers and are fleeing the area. Our spider pig there, and the French artillery, which I couldn't see initially, or obviously is in action, taking out the Russians who have taken up that static position. So this is the 4E retreating away, and these two are getting rather close. Here we have another French line, cunningly hidden behind this farmhouse. Unfortunately, the brightly coloured officer must stick his head round with his telescope to see what's going on. Let's find those cuirassiers. You've got to be around here somewhere. There we go. So they're currently scouting down the river. Looks like they're going to go engage the Russian cavalry. In fact, it looks like the cuirassiers' leader is baiting them in, having the dragoons chase after him, and out come his friends from the river. But it does not look like the dragoons are taking that trap. They're fleeing the area. Oh, and the Bayard return fire. Where was that? There we go. So the 6E Young Guard? Yep. They were hiding behind the artillery here, and 3 of them will be staying there. Nicely lined up to be buried later. The rest are removing themselves to a safer location. So, looks like the cavalry are swarming around on the left of the field. There's some skirmishers trying to engage the horses by the look of this down by the river. Let's head down there and see what's going on. These Frenchmen haven't moved. They're still hiding behind this nice little farmhouse here, waiting for an ambush by the looks of it. Russian artillery, making use of the static guns already in place, so they've got a howitzer, a cannon and a mortar. These two are nicely lined up with each other though, so they could end up losing both of their artillery rankers if this does take a hit from the French. it does look like we've got a Russian line pushing up on the side here, ready to engage some Frenchmen, so let's go have a look at this. So this is the nice double rank formation of the 18 TES, complete with drumming. Chadman would be proud. The 4E, I believe that's the 4E, seem to be beating a hasty retreat under howitzer fire as well, so that's a sensible move there. And they're going to take a luck shot at that distance. And no dice. Let's go see who this is. Yep, I can see the grenadier hats from here. This is Landsmack leading the 4E. He's heading off into the trees. He will still be visible to that artillery battery. I'm not too sure what he's up to. Now howitzer's firing at this building. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe he doesn't realise he doesn't have the range on it. But it looks like the French are grouping up over here now. They've got their cavalry, they've got the grenadiers, they've got the two lines. So the French are making a concerted push down the right here. Let's see which officers are still going. So we have Saddam with the 4PP, backed up by the smaller line led by the Firecard, who unfortunately lost some to enemy artillery action. And then of course Mac with the 4E over there. Now it looks like the Russian Dragoons have moved over to try and head them off, or at least doing a scouting action. So the Cuirassiers are moving in to try and force an engagement again. Oh, and the 4PP take the cannonball. Ah, there we go. There's a Russian line moving in wedge formation, which is more accustomed to tanks as opposed to line infantry. So this is the 18 TES retreating back towards their artillery placements. But the French cavalry have sandwiched in between them and their guns, so will they turn and engage them, or will they ride away? This is the question. They're going to have to do one or the other, because sitting there would be suicide. They are riding away. While the 18 TES take fire from the side. This small line is engaging them whilst a friendly line moves up on their other flank. Will they see them coming? Can the French hold them there long enough for their friends to get in position? So we've got all of the French units now forming up on the 18 TES. I wonder if they realise their plight. They are turning to face the new threat. Complete with drums. It's very nicely done there. Chadman would be proud. Oh, and Woden is in the field. It's 5 TES Woden, mind you. You've got to have a Woden in every battle. So we're going to see some stabby action here, to use Chad's favourite words. Oh, and the officer goes down. Bayonet to the gut. So Mac taken out early in the fight there. And the Russians look to have decisively won this melee. Oh, very naughty there. These French should be firing in formation. They are not the designated skirmisher class. Oh, and the howitzer acts as a moral equalizer. Karma sucks sometimes. Russians are still doing very well, having fought so many French units. They still look like they may actually win this. And unless this 4E member, who is this Grim Reaper, can pull off a spectacular performance, I think this is over for him. Here come the French cavalry, or what's left of them. Oh, did he just stab his teammate's horse? Oh, that's ended badly for them. I don't think any of the Russians have died, or possibly, no, there we go, Rainbow George was taken down. And in return, the French have lost the remaining of their line infantry and several of their cavalry. And that's firing out of formation there, Mr. Taskman. Very naughty. He is doing exceptionally well at taking them out with the bayonet though, so... Who is this? My player. Brutally stabbed by Taskman. As the Grenadiers come up with the 3 TES. So there are 4 Frenchmen left to 24 Russians. This round is a foregone conclusion. So there's Karantuki reminding them of not firing in the charge, which we have already seen today. So it's all down to the artillery crew and one other. I'm not sure where the 4th man is. Let's see if they can get any spectacular kills on lines towards the end here. They should definitely have these howitzers loaded up, even if they aren't firing them initially, and that mortar. Nothing's more amusing than firing a mortar straight up at the start of a fight and then watching it slaughter your opponents and yourself as a final gesture. So the French are down to 3, the 4th one was AFK and has been slain by the admin. Let's see, where are the Russians? Let's do a bird's eye view for a minute. Here they come. They're just moving up on the right now, just past that farmhouse. You may be able to make out their flag in the distance. The team's currently standing at 69 Russians, 55 French, so it is a bit unbalanced still. And, oh, Spider Pig. Spider Pig takes out a couple there of the 4 TES, which I believe is the skirmishers. So that was unfortunate placement by the skirmishers there to have 2 taken out by a cannonball. But here comes the line, ready to deal with the cannons, and they are flanking round nicely. So you can see the cannons starting to turn, desperately trying to get round. That second gun's going to block the first one. It'll be interesting to see what the game thinks that guy is sat. Good, it doesn't think he's sat on top of his friend. And all in all, that was very unsuccessful cannon fire. So it's now down to these 3 people to go and throw themselves on the bayonet, apparently. Spider Pig there being a bit ambitious as to his sword's reach and speed. Some very good melee fighting there by the Russians. And they have the victory. Let's have a look here at the French spawn again. So we've got the cuirassiers running off to the side. Ah, this is why we couldn't see their artillery to start with. They are taking just rankers. They're not bringing artillery train. And they are just making use of the existing artillery position. Which does mean their positioning will be entirely predictable to the enemy if they work that one out. Especially the enemy dragoons. If they can make use of that information, they could wipe out the enemy artillery rapidly. Let's check the Russians. So they've still got their dragoons. Now they do have an artillery train, so they will be moving this gun. In fact, they have a pair of them. They then have 2 rankers and what looks like an officer. Yep. So it may have been the artillery officer taken out at the start of last round, so my apologies for that, not the skirmishers. Mixing the uniforms up there. So the 4 TES here. Wow, that's a pair of glasses and a half. They're not even balanced on his nose. That's just impressive. He's got time to curl his hair in the morning. Clearly the Russians have too much time on their hands. And someone stole my signature pipe. Obviously found it scattered around the battlefield after I died in a siege or something. So Mac here. He does look like someone who's chewed on a wasp, I think, with that face. but the beard's definitely fitting. Leading his Grenadier Guards, hopefully to victory. Right, where's the rest of the army moving? So we've got the Russians here fording the river with their amphibious cannon. Okay, that's some impressive technology they've got there. So some of the Russians have come to the right. You've got one line in the artillery. Oh! 18 TES just lost a couple there. Those French gunners have got some binoculars on them. That's some ridiculous vision. Now I'm not too sure what this sapper's up to. He seems to be trying to blow a hole in the riverbed. Is he trying to drain the water out, or...? I'm not sure. Anyway, let's continue. So the artillery crew have dragged their guns all the way over to another known static position just so they can have even more guns. Unfortunately, one of their gunners has just caught a cannonball. So they probably could have made do with the amount of guns they had to start with, and they are now being rushed by the cuirassiers. But they've seen the line infantry, so they're peeling away. The 18 TES here being in close support of their artillery has done their job. Let's have a jump around the battlefield. So the 4E playing a similar role. Sorry, not the 4E. The 4PP playing a similar role for their own artillery. They are a bit further away, however. And it looks like the other French unit's back here as well. So the French are playing very defensive. Only the 4E out in the field somewhere. Let's see if we can find them. They are. So the 4E had advanced all the way down the map and taken the previous Russian artillery location. But they are completely out on a limb, unsupported. This could end badly for them. Let's see what the Russians are up to. Now the Russians, as you can see, are sticking together nicely. You have the 4 TES hidden in the trees, along with their guards, the 3 TES. And they're slightly off to the side from the main artillery detachment with the dragoons in support. So both teams seem very happy to play defensive, apart from the 4E, which are busy advancing around the map on their own, capturing locations that currently aren't in use. So we could, I suspect this round will be a bit longer than the other one. As the French, yep, are definitely showing no sign of moving anytime soon. It's obviously lunchtime. Let's see, they have... Oh! They lost 2 artillery crewmen there. Whichever cannonball that was very successful in annihilating the enemy artillery. So it looks like, as far as I can see, the French are down to a single gun. The Russians, however, have 3 operators with a pair of officers to spot for them. And a sapper who's busy digging. Quite why you need a barricade of dirt in front of a barricade of wood and dirt, I'm not really sure. Does seem to be doubling up on the workload, really. You'd have thought a barricade around the back would have been better for them. Oh, and here we have General Kutuzov, played by Karen Tuki, who is the event organizer. So this man will be hopefully enjoying himself by putting his telescope up to his patched eye. Good job there, Russian General. You got X-ray vision or something. So the Russians here are advancing along the riverbank into these trees, try and make use of the cover. They are under howitzer fire. Yes, run towards the shell location, that's always a good plan. Here come the Dragoons. Spread out and looking a little depleted. Russians again moving away. It seems neither side really wants to engage the other at this point. Here's a small French line that came over to engage. This is the 6E Young Guard. I assume that's what they're referring to with the YG. Now, who does this here? This is Saddam, but he's not playing as an officer now. He's decided to go ranker and lead with a musket. Trying to make the most... the team balances have changed a little. Russia now only has 68 to France's 62, so there's a bit more balance involved now. And here come the French cavalry. The 6E cuirassiers rushing in to attack both the guards. And we lost them. And the Pavlovsky Life Guards. So that is the 4 TES and 3 TES. They seem to be doing a very good job of it as well. Cycling around, figures of 8, trying to catch them completely by surprise. And in come the supporting French infantry. So here's the melee fight to watch. It looks like the Russians are not getting the better of this one. The 3 TES and the 4 TES both being decimated there. The 4 PP barely taking any losses. If we have a look at the bodies, they are nearly all Russian. Somebody's getting told off for shooting in the charge. There's a couple of dead French cavalry. Pair of them down here who can't quite finish off this last Pavlovsky grenadier. He's just kind of buying time, and the French have left him, and that would be why. Now they are, however, getting flanked through the trees. Will the 18 TES notice this? The French are coming up behind them on their flank. Oh, they turn to face, and they go for a charge. Now the French will get a volley off on them, but with them spread out like that, it's not likely to be effective. So that was probably the best call. It's hard to see who's winning with all these bushes. More Frenchmen are pouring in from the rear. I would say the French have the upper hand in here. The 18 TES, although they had significant numbers, just unable to stand up to that firepower. It's currently 13 Russians to 31 French, so this round has gone completely the other way. It's still all to play for. There's still a few French cavalry around. Looks like there's still a few dragoons from the Russians. Maybe only one. You should really be joining a line. But yep, the 4E cycled all the way around the map and attacked the artillery. We were too busy watching the other fight to have seen that, but the outcome is obvious. The artillery is no longer firing. And Mac is still alive. What is this? Oh no, he's just taken down a friendly horse. This explains everything. He's surviving through friendly fire. He's transferring his karma onto his allies. So now the hunt is on for Bayard Cutter. Let's see where he's hiding. The last surviving Russian. He's in here somewhere. There we go. So he's got one shot, and he's fluffed it. Is he going to ride the horse? Come on, arty train of victory. No? Oh, he's trampled. And there he's slashed down by Carber, sorry. And so the French win a round. So it's 1-1. All still to play for. So you can see at the start of a round, They're all nicely bundled up and they have to try and form. Trying to form up your line in the middle of the spawn location is not the most intelligent of plans. But never mind. One of the dragoons looks like he's playing Twister. Not too sure what he's going on there. Let's go have a look at the French spawn. These cuirassiers seem to spread out a lot and scout individually, which is a little odd and probably not entirely within the rules, but never mind. So it looks like the French are going for a hard push on the left. Got the 4E here leading the way. Not going off on their own this time. The 1TE. 1TE? Now we've had some reinforcements. This explains the thing. The number change. It's now 65 on 64. The 6EYG. And the 4PP. So the French have gained an extra line, which explains the balance some little bit. Now I'm not sure where those guys are going. They seem to be going off on their own again. Let's see. Sonada here, Colonel of the 6E Cuirassiers, scouting miles away from his unit. I've kind of already touched on this, but it's very strange. Now it's worth noting that neither of these teams seem to have skirmishers, which, I mean, for the French it's not such a big deal because they only have access to the musket, but obviously being able to skirmish is a big advantage in a shooting battle. The Russians, however, losing the advantage of being able to use those rifles, or possibly the cavalry muskets, depending which one they picked. Which on big open maps like this, especially with enemy artillery in play, being able to spread out and shoot longer range could have a big impact, so it's a bit strange not to see that. I suspect the skirmisher regiments were sent to the other servers to try and balance those, which is why we're not seeing them here today. So yep, the teams are definitely balanced now. Not seeing the Russian lines. Let's try and find them. Oh, a team kill from the Bayard there. So the 18, I believe this is the 18 TS. Yep, are hiding behind the farmhouse here. Just trying to keep out of sight. The Dragoons kind of announcing their presence to the world instead. And the 4 TES and the 3 TES working together as expected. And they've got the general with them as well. Now they're quite a distance from their artillery. It's over there on the horizon. And it does look like a French line is coming across here. They look like they were trying to flank the artillery, but I think they may have seen the lines in the trees now. So there's the Russian Dragoons speeding down the left flank there. Meanwhile, the French cavalry is hiding on the back of the map behind their cannon. It looks like 3 of their lines are back there as well. Looks like the start of the game is playing out much like the previous round. Everyone's sitting back by their guns, trying to let the cannons do some damage. The Dragoons are going to come up on the side here and try to have a scout to see if they can take out those guns, but I think once they see the amount of infantry and when the cuirassiers show their hand, they will back out rather rapidly. So what's moving up there? Is that the last? Okay, so you've got 3 French regiments and their cavalry. Dragoons beating a hasty retreat, but they may lose some of their horses and possibly the members, the riders, to this French unit here. Nope, they all missed. The Dragoons managed to make a retreat. You can just see a flag fluttering on the horizon though. Looks like one of the Russian infantry units has moved over. Here we go. Let's see, who is this? This looks like the 18 TES? Yes, it is. They've got their drummer telling them to form up. Oh, well, this guy took a shot here. Gem Vita getting hit by a musket, shrugging off the wound. It's but a scratch, and then returning fire. Some long-range shooting going on here. You may have just heard the squelch sound there, signifying another hit, but at this distance the damage is not sufficient for a kill unless you hit the head. So this duel could go on for quite a while. Of course, the whole time it's just allowing artillery to line up and send in a bullet that will kill you first time. Let's just go up for a bird's eye view for the moment, see if any other regiments are engaged. So you've got the artillery back there, we've got some cavalry riding around in the centre. Now, that looks like the Russian cavalry. Yes it is, they've come in, fired their muskets, and failed horribly to get any kills. And are now being chased off by the 4E. And the 6E cuirassiers come in as well, they've taken down one of the cavalry. So the dragoons there not having much luck, falling back to lick their wounds. Now the 4 TES and there's a fight going on. Here we go. Where is this? Down in the trees, off to the side. So the 3 TES here charging in against the line in front of them, possibly not realising there's a line to their side. In come the cavalry. This is going to be a massacre. If the French don't win this, there's something seriously wrong. Oh, some lovely stabbing there from the 3 TES, but taken out by Psycho here. Just a few straggling Russians left, trying to survive. Not only 2 infantry regiments, but a cavalry assault as well. And down there goes Stanislav. Ilan finishing him off there. So, let's take stock. We've got 5 of the 6E Young Guard left. 4 of the 4 PP. And some of the cavalry, and there's some awesome shooting from the artillery here. The 4E taking losses from howitzers. Possibly mortars. Let's see what's going on this side of the map. It looks like the 4E are moving up to try and take out the TES, which has lost quite a few members. The 18 TES there is now being charged by both the infantry and the cavalry. We'll have to break formation. Those cavalry swooping in, getting a kill and riding off, or knocking them down for the French bayonets to then finish off. That fight should only have really gone one way, and it has. The Russian officer, the last one alive, down goes Clausewitz. So the Russians are losing troops on all fronts here. I think they've lost all of their infantry units. They'll be down to artillery and dragoons. And these dragoons are unlikely to be able to match up against the cuirassiers. The 6E having more armour and being a very experienced horse regiment. They are, however, trying to take as many troops with them as possible, and that was a very close mortar shot, or possibly howitzer from the Russians, nearly taking out their last cavalry. He's just trying to keep out of reach of those bayonets. Oh, and that's all over. Oh, but the bayonet misses. And the horse has got him down. And he's cut to pieces by Harry here. The 4E saying this map is way too big. Possibly a a good argument when there's only 64 players a team. If that was up in the 90s, possibly 100, you would obviously have nearly twice as many troops roaming around, at which point maps of this size are almost a necessity. So here comes the canister shot, possibly. Nope, he went for round shot. Now what will this be? That did absolutely nothing. It hit the floor directly in front of the gun. Trying to fire canister out of a howitzer is a skillful art in itself. And the artillery crew being brutally cut down here. The last surviving Russian backed into a corner. And he falls onto his the remains of an artillery piece. That's 2-1 to France. So there's questions about map change. I believe they normally swap the ends around on these maps as opposed to swapping map entirely. Yep, there we go. Karantuki's going to swap the spawns. So, top of the score sheet there. Spider Pig with 16 kills, 1 death on artillery. And Corporal Gravy Boat with 9 for 2. And this is not the map they were looking for. This looks different again. Is it possibly just the time of day? It looks like they have just shifted to the sort of evening version of the battlefield. The sun's setting beautifully over the horizon there. Or possibly rising. There's no compass. I guess you could tell if you knew your Battle of Borodino map particularly well. If you knew which way these rivers flowed relative to compass points, you'd be able to tell where the sun should be. You'd probably find it's not even meant to be in that direction, but that would be full-on nerd, so we will stop discussing that. So 60 cuirassiers heading across the right side of the map here. Oh, Mac is talking to me. Ah, this isn't live yet. So they're still sorting out and there goes the map reset. So we are live with round 4. Currently the French leading 2-1. Okay. Raz here. He's trying to commit suicide by firing bullets into the barrels of objects and hoping they don't come flying back out in his face. Be a shame to get blood on this beautiful cowhide backpack he's sporting here. Latest fashion in France this summer. So the 4E, where's Mac? Nowhere to be seen. There we go. He's midline, no longer leading. He's also stream watching, which is very naughty of him. Saddam here, leading the 4PP. And, well, that's a name I'm not going to even try and pronounce. We'll call this the 1TE captain.
Vive l'empereur!
So the Russians currently sat up on the guns, much like the French did. Oh, and staying nicely grouped together. Cavalry going off to explore. Mac is currently complaining that I shouldn't be spectating loud things. Well, he shouldn't be watching a live event when he's meant to be playing tactically against them. It's called cheating. But never mind. Learn my lesson for next time. There will be a delayed stream next time, up to 5-6 minutes, so he cannot do this. But for now, that's not possible. That was interesting. The artilleryman here is looking through his telescope with the side of his nose. We'll see if he does it again. Come on, keep that telescope up. There we go. It's not actually in front of his eye at all, it's resting on the top of his cheekbone. French units here, still near their spawn, just waiting around their artillery. Oh, very close shot there. You can still see the smoking crater. The 1T could have lost several troops to that. Can't quite see which direction the crater came in. Con Harry here, keeping Chadman happy, being musical. Again, the musician doesn't actually touch the instrument to his lips. So that's a nice special French trick there for playing the bugle. So let's see who we got down here. The 4E alongside the 4PP working together. The Young Guards still hanging back quite a lot. And I believe this should be the 18TES. Let's go have a look. No, that's the 1TE. Where are the 18TES hiding then? Never mind. Oh, of course, they're Russian now. They're on the other side of the map. So we've got the 4 and 3 TES together, as expected. The 18 nowhere really to be seen. Oh, a lovely shot from Bolvark there. Let's go see that. Or did he actually hit? Just a straight on shot, 3 guys standing too close together. Cannonball took all of them. Now we should have an engagement here. The 4 TES have seen the enemy. What are they going to do? One of the French lines has opened fire. The 4 PP still moving up. The Russians splitting up. One line retreating away, the other advancing on the flank. And hitting the hill. French didn't even seem to notice. So this 5-man line will continue to attack them from the flank. Although another French regiment crossing the river there, I suspect their lives will be brief. But they're going to make them pay for them. If they could hit somebody. It seems the French are having equally similar issues though. These 2 guys firing out of formation for the 6E. And in come the cuirassiers. Ambushing that line just when it thinks it's going in for a melee fight, as usual. And so the French press on through the trees onto the Russian flank behind their guns. So the Russians are forming defences. Who's this here? 4 people advancing and assaulting the gun positions. It's coming down to melee. The other Russian unit's not moving into support. This is unfortunate. And Karen Tucky has just rode in and friendly fired some, well, team killed somebody with his sword. And now he's lost his horse as well. This one eye is obviously affecting his depth perception as he gets stabbed as well. And recruit Rudolph here, avenging his fallen general. In come the cavalry. The line didn't even see them coming. Sort of blindsided. Now they're riding around in the artillery. Not being particularly effective. The artillery deciding to try and take them out with puny little swords. Oh, and a lovely howitzer shot from their own team. Not too sure what happened there. That may have been the mortar going up and coming straight back down again and killing all of their teammates. But the French are slaughtering everybody here. It's 21 to 10. There must be the remains of a Russian line somewhere. The 5 TES KDR. Is that their dragoons? Yep, that's the dragoons. So here we have Brendel leading the remains of the Russian team. 8 versus 20. Glory or death. They're still trying to track down the enemy by the look of things. Oh, now they've seen them. Now the interesting thing to note with these horses is when you're looking through the telescope, the character may look like he's looking forwards, but you can actually look around anywhere. So just because he's pointing this way with his telescope does not mean he isn't actually looking back at the enemy there. One of those nice little graphical bugs. So it looks like he was telescoping this bush, but he almost certainly would have been looking that way. Here come the cuirassiers to try and engage. Cavalry on cavalry. Oh, a lovely shot from Toast and Romanov there, pulling down 2 of the horsemen. Now they're charging in. Possibly a more sensible route would have been to ride away and try some more hit and run tactics, but I guess they just want the round over. Oh, lovely job taking down the horses there, this officer. Who is this? Fire card, pulled down 2 dragoon horses there. Now with the assistance of some of his teammates. Oh, that's his 3rd horse. And he got the rider as well. And then he gets stabbed by his teammate. So Brian there will be in the stocks later. So that's 3-1 to the French. Not sure how many more rounds they've got left. Let's see what we got here. The 18 TES moving out in double rank with their token drummer and flag bearer. It does look very nice when they've changed formation based by changing the drum sounds. It's very well drilled. So the Russians have got an artillery train. I'm not sure what gun they're going to pull and where. Can only see the one of them. They definitely got the artillery rankers though. They're firing all 4 guns. Oh, Turin stubbed his toe on the box, collapsed in a heap. Apparently he had a heavy night last night. Let's go take a look at the French, shall we? So they have 3 gunners. Or is that? Nope, that's 2 and an officer, I believe. So a lot less artillery than the Russians. And this small line moving around on its own is the 6E Young Guard, led by Firecard. Rhyming is apparently important in the French army. And here we have one member of the 4E. Looks like he's desperately trying to find the rest of his unit. Now there's shooting going on. Here we go. So the 1TE are holed up in this building here, this farmhouse. Looks like the Dragoons tried to engage them. There's one outside. The rest circling around the French here. It's a very odd place to try and engage. Rather a lot of Frenchmen who are firing out of formation. The 4E, they're completely firing out of formation. Karen Tuki will not be happy with that. And they should definitely know better. Continuing to do so. Invite champions. It's always a bad thing to have invites. They never quite know the rules. And they're never really inclined to follow them either, as they have no stake in the regiment. So that was the Russian Dragoons brutally slaughtered there by the 4E. Although the last one, Jacob, is exacting a toll. Let's see what the Cuirassiers up to here. Look to have been sitting back by their artillery just to cover it for a while. They're now moving in to engage. Probably after being informed that the enemy cavalry was annihilated, that sort of frees them up to not have to worry about them. Oh, Cutter! Where was that? 4E taking 2 cannonballs. Oh, and Rowan returns, the 40ES taking 2 back. We'll call that a draw. These guys still just sitting around. 4 TES and the 3 TES just hiding in the trees. Looks like we do have some shooting elsewhere. There we go. Who is this? This is the 4 PP moving up to engage what looks like the 18 TES. They do have support of another French unit. There's the drum telling them to turn. Pivoting on the spot, very nicely drilled, I must say. Oh, and 3 kills. Some good shooting there. 1 kill in return. But the French are swarming. More and more units are moving in to engage them here. Oh, that cannonball. And the 18 TES are taking casualties now. That was another 4 of the number, 5. 3 different French units, all engaging them. All at different angles as well. Another 2 drop to fire. They can only sustain these losses for so long. It'd be very nice if they had backup. But instead, in comes the French cavalry. Now here is the Russian backup. It hasn't noticed the cuirassiers, who have flanked round behind it and are going to deal with the small unit left to defend the artillery. So that's the Russian artillery most likely dealt with. So we're down to the 2 lines of Russians engaging the 3 lines of French in the field. Although one is moving away. Oh, lovely shooting from the 18 TES there. I think they finished off the 4E now. It's 32-37. It's actually a lot closer than it seems. So one unit of French have moved off into the buildings, trying to use the windows for cover. The other are trying to circle around onto the flank of the 18 TES here, but they've seen it. And here there comes the drum-laden turn, except they don't have a drum anymore. So they're just doing it anyway. More long-range shooting. No joy from either team. And in come the cavalry. What's left of them. Colonel Sonada being taken down by Lucia. The Colonel's having a bit of a fight between themselves there. Small French unit engaging from the rear. Actually doing very well with their shooting. 4 shooting kills out of, I believe, 6 shots. Which by these sort of times is excellent accuracy. But it looks like the Russians have won this melee, just numbers. So it's currently 23 French, 14 Russians. The French not really coordinating their attack there. If they'd have waited for this other unit, which is going to have to watch itself or it may suffer friendly artillery fire. So here it comes. They're not really sure where to shoot. It's all of a bit of a scatter over there at the moment. No hard target. Oh, and it looks like the Russians are actually losing this melee fight. Who is this? The 4PP. They're down to their last man. So are the Russians. Clausewitz. Clausewitz versus Kaczynski. Oh, it looks like Clausewitz may get executed here. Firing squad style. Goodbye, Mr. Clausewitz. That makes it 4-1 to the French. And we're on to the last round. So there's no way the Russians can win now, unfortunately. So let's see what they get up to. Will they try some crazy maneuver? Or will they just continue to play as they have been? Considering that all of the Russian team are in a brigade, I'm a bit surprised there's not more communication between the 18 TES and the other two lines. The 3 and the 4 TES definitely have their coordination going well. You know, they back each other up, they stay near each other at nearly all the time. But the 18 seem to just be doing their own thing. From an overall tactical view, it's probably not the best situation, especially as they have the majority of the numbers trooper-wise. And some excellent drilling, which could come in very handy in a group fight. The Dragoons as well seem to be compared to the 6E Cuirassiers, seem to have had relatively little impact in this game. They don't seem to swoop in for those melees at the opportune moment to catch the enemy off guard. They seem more interested in trying to ride around, catching artillery out when the artillery is never actually exposed in that fashion. So, what are the French doing? They're rushing to this farmhouse, which is on the left of the map. So where the Russians set up the first round. I wonder if their artillery has come with them or not. Nope, it looks like their artillery is on the far side of the map. That could prove problematic if the dragoons catch them. Where are the cuirassiers? This is the question. Here they go. And they are hiding. Where is this? This looks like their spawn. So the French infantry are that direction, the cavalry are here, the French artillery is that direction, and the enemy's in the middle. So it's a very odd choice. Oh, Bolvark there. A double kill on the Russian artillery. I believe Cutter's a gunner. Spider Pig taking out one of the 3 TES. Let's see. That looks like one gunner and... oh, another one. I think they've lost 2 gunners there. So that was a very nice shot on the from the French artillery there, halving the effectiveness of the Russians. Oh, this guy's got an eye patch as well. It seems there's a thing in the losing your right eye. I wonder if it's a thing of joining the mafia of the time or some such thing. So you may be able to make out the French in the distance. Doing a full force push up the left. Well, from their perspective. The right from the Russians. They will face off against the 18 TES to begin with. I suspect they may be trying to head for these buildings so they can use the windows, because they do not have to be in a line if they're inside. Alternatively, they may just be trying to use this fence for cover. Both would be sensible choices. And have they worked it out? Yep, it looks like they are going for that. The Russians here grouping up nicely. Oh, that cannonball, if it had been slightly to the left, could have got an enormous amount of kills. All 3 Russian lines grouped up there. So we've got a bit of fighting over the fence on that side. We've got some melee over here. Let's go look at the melee. So it looks like the Russians outnumber it quite considerably. The 18 TES, that's why. Taking out their 6E Young Guard there. Very little losses to themselves. Currently 45 on 49. Oh, some excellent fire from the French though. The 1 TE doing well. Looks like the cuirassiers are taking out the artillery. We can just make that out in the distance. Yep, the Russian artillery is neutralised. Now, are they coming for the 18 TES? This they are. They're trying to engage an infantry unit that's not currently fighting anyone else. But the 18 TES are spreading out wide, which is not the best idea against cavalry, because they will just ride in from all directions to pick you off if you're too spread out. The cavalry are taking a lot of men down for their troops. Oh, that was a nasty friendly fire. They're Captain Slaughter here, deciding Harry will never be taken prisoner and slicing his face off before he leaves the area. On centre, doing a 360 spin in midair, catching the pistol bullet in his behind and then continuing the fight. Oh, and he's knocked to the floor and he's still going. Block. And he's down. Killed by a friendly. It seems to be a thing with the 6E cuirassiers. They are not leaving anyone behind to be taken prisoner. And the French moving in from this side have annihilated the Russian resistance. And they have a lot of troops available to them. The remains of the 18 TES are going to have to try and hold them. But it is 30 on 20. I do not fancy their chances. They are severely outnumbered. The Dragoons nowhere in sight. Here come the Dragoons, coming in from the right field. Hotly pursued by the remains of the cuirassiers. Can they make the difference? This is the time. And they're half of them are unhorsed in the first attack. There's only 2 left on horseback. The French reacting very well to that cavalry attack there. Oh, he tried to jump and he's taken out. Last couple of cavalrymen. Brendel here, unhorsed and fighting on foot. Supported by Romanov on horseback. Oh, he's unhorsed and stabbed by Kaczynski. The last horseman is beating a hasty retreat. Trying to form up with his allies, being chased by these 2 guys here from the 4 PP. He's dropping stuff as he runs so he can move quicker. He tries to get an ambush turn fight in. And the French taking out the few remainers with firing squads. Will he surrender? He's trying to reload his pistol. Brendel here in his last stand, and down he goes. And good games are issued all round. So the final scores are France 5, Russia 1. Very good game from both teams there. I hope everybody enjoyed watching that. Hopefully service with Chadman will be resumed next week. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.